People say, television on in the morning? That's disgusting. Disgusting idea. What's happening in this country? People even use the word immoral.
But we're still here. 40 years on, we're celebrating a special birthday on the programme this morning, and we'll be taking a few trips down memory lane. Let's have a look at this morning's papers, shall we? Because there's one story that is dominating every single front page. That terrible story, PC David Carrick pleading guilty to 49 offences. The Telegraph focusing on the Met's admission that it failed the public by allowing Carrick to be in its ranks.
The Mirror says the Met's 9 chances to stop Carrick is the focus there. The headline refers to multiple allegations brought against him while he served as a police officer.
Meanwhile, The Times does have another story on its front page saying that the upcoming teachers' strikes in England and Wales that we've been talking about are going to hit millions of pupils. The Education Secretary, who we're going to speak to later on breakfast this morning, has written a piece in the paper saying teachers are turning their backs on children. The front page also features that beautiful snowy photo, a bit like the one Carol had a moment ago, that was taken yesterday in Hexham in Northumberland.
And the most watched video on the BBC website is this. As we mentioned, we're celebrating our 40th anniversary. Lots of you particularly love it when things have gone wrong on this programme over the years.
Here?
Yes.
No.
Shall we have a look?
Sean Marie O'Connor, Ben Proud and James Guy. Congratulations. Oh, I didn't see the step.
And then what do you do if you do get bitten? We've only got about... Go on. What if you do get bitten? What's your advice? Oh, no.
Don't do that.
That's a really bad idea.
Do you remember that moment?
Yes. Oh, there's loads of great clips on there this morning. You can go onto the BBC News website and there's a whole, 40 years of bloopers, basically. 13 minutes past 6 on this special day. This morning, because today is the 40th anniversary of the first ever edition of BBC Breakfast Television.
Have you noticed anything different about us, perhaps?
Look
At
closely.
that. It's not my knees. It's the new clock. I haven't got new knees. Yeah.
A new clock, but it's the old clock. That is the clock that was put on the screen at exactly this time. Well, nearly this time, 50 minutes this time.
The original, still the best clock.
And we were
love
saying
it.
that it looks kind of old-fashioned, but it also looks kind of cool, doesn't it? That sort of 80s retro thing.
Don't panic, everybody. It's only for one day. It's only for today. It was just on this special occasion, the 40th anniversary of the first ever breakfast programme. So we've got a special clock. We've also got a very, very special friend.
I've got a special friend here. I've got a special mug as
well.
well.
I'm not talking about the mugs.
OK, we've got much
talking
more
about the actual human in the room.
Good morning,
It's Carol. Morning.
Good morning. Oh, how lovely it is to be
It's like
here
a royal
today.
visit. It's like...
Sit up straight.
I'm sorry, standing to attention. It's lovely to be here with you guys. It's such a treat. It's really nice. And on a day like today as well.
And lots of you have been getting in touch to share your memories of the first time you ever watched breakfast and how you've joined us to start your day ever since.
Let's hear some of those moments now from the last 4 decades that have stood out for you.
I set my alarm and I got into not my pyjamas as per usual, but I dressed head to toe in my school uniform so that I could save precious moments in the morning. And I remember getting into bed with my skirt, my shirt and my school tie done right up, feeling really uncomfortable, hoping that my mum would not come in and find me like that because she would not have allowed me to get up that early. And sure enough, the alarm went off and I shot out onto that sofa and I was there for the opening credits and I sat mesmerised.
I was 24 years old and expecting my first child. And I particularly remember Diana Moran, the Green Goddess, attempting to do exercise with her, but at 9 months pregnant, I was a little cumbersome.
I married my wife on the 15th of January 1983, and 2 days later I found myself watching your show from a hospital bed in Eastbourne, waiting to have my tonsils removed.
Happy birthday, BBC Breakfast. I became a teenager the day of your first broadcast, and I remember how exciting it was to get news and entertainment through our only telly for the first time on the morning before I went to school.
When I switched on the TV, my mum was totally amazed and shocked. She did not know what was going on, and when I explained to her, she was still in shock and amazement.
Can't believe that it was in 1983 that I made it my goal to get onto that red leather sofa at Lime Grove Studios. 2 years later, my dream came true when I was invited along to appear on Breakfast Time, as it was known then, as a young film critic. In all, I made 12 live appearances alongside Selena Scott, Mike Smith, Debbie Greenwood and Nick Ross, and a very young Jude Law. Now, whatever happened to him? Happy birthday, BBC Breakfast. Here's to the next 40 years.
Oh, isn't that brilliant?
It's lovely. It's lots of messages coming in all the time, mainly about the clock, it has to be said.
It's proving a little bit divisive at the moment. I love it. That just for where is it there? For one day only, we have the original clock back.
Other people not so sure. Some people struggling to read it, saying make it digital.
It's 6:20, everybody. It's fine. That's clear.
We have to do a digital translation for everybody. We've got lots of friends joining us, including some of those you see there. And an update this morning for you. If you go onto the BBC website, there's a live page going with the memories.
What's going on in that picture?
I think that's the end of the first show. They had a cake, they had champagne.
OK.
I'm not sure we get that this morning for the birthday. But
I don't think we'll be remaking that one. Morning, everybody. Does anyone remember this? Not all of you will, I know, because this morning we are celebrating 40 years since Breakfast Time first aired here on BBC One. It was called Breakfast Time then, not just breakfast. I can remember what I was doing. I was getting up, getting ready for school, put the telly on, couldn't believe the news was on the television.
Because we'd never had morning telly. Telly started at like lunchtime in those days.
You remember it particularly well, don't you, John?
I have an aide memoir here because I recently found...
Or should I call you Adrian Mole?
Too right, too right. I recently found my diary from that time. And in among the stories about having a cold sore and trying to get out of PE lessons, let me show you. Look, I actually wrote in here on the 17th of January, 1983, about watching the very first edition of BBC Breakfast.
40 years ago today you wrote that?
Getting up. My writing's a bit messier now, isn't it?
Yes, it
is.
is.
I got up there talking about watching telly, having cornflakes, not quite believing this opportunity. And here we are today, which is all very strange, isn't it? 40 years on.